Hi there, students. In this video I wanted to show you how to use the empirical rule to find percentages. So this example is titled Distribution of Facebook Friends. So assuming a normal distribution, a mean of 190, and we're referring to Facebook friends, a mean of 190 Facebook friends. So let's assume that the average number of Facebook friends people have, I don't know, in the United States is 190, and the standard deviation of 36 Facebook friends. Answer the following questions. So whenever you're doing these type of problems, I want you to draw a sketch of the normal distribution, because that's what's going to help you find the percentages. Alright, so I'm going to draw a bell curve, and we're going to fill it out, of course. Alright, so let's draw a sketch to the right here, because the questions are approximately what proportion of people have less than 154 Facebook friends. What is the percentage of people who have more than 262 Facebook friends? Approximately what proportion of people have between 118 and 226 Facebook friends? And approximately what proportion of people have less than 240 Facebook friends? So we need to see if those we can use the empirical rule or not. So let's draw a sketch. Alright, so we know that the mean goes in the very center of the bell curve, and then we'll proceed to put the other values on this horizontal axis. Now, in the center, we know that our mean is 190. And again, since the problem said that we are assuming a normal distribution, that's why I was able to draw this bell curve, alright, to illustrate a normal distribution. Alright, so what would be one standard deviation above the mean? One standard deviation above the mean would be 190 plus 36, because the 190 is the mu, and the mu plus sigma would be 190 plus 36. So 190 plus 36, if you put that in the calculator right quick, you get 226. What would be two standard deviations above the mean? Two standard deviations above the mean would be 262. So all we're doing is adding 36 to each value for the values on the right here. 226 plus 36, 262, add 36 to that, we get 298. One standard deviation below, so this will represent one standard deviation below the mean, which would make that mu minus sigma now. Then of course mu minus 2 sigma. So 190 minus 36 is 154. Two standard deviations below the mean would be 118, and three standard deviations below the mean would be 82. So the first part of this problem asks approximately, and we use approximately or the word about when we're referring to the empirical rule, because it's not exact. So the empirical rule gives us an approximate value, or a value that's about the percentage that is accurate for that particular scenario. So approximately what proportion of people have less than 154 Facebook friends? First of all, the empirical rule is also known as the 68, 95, 99.7 rule, because within one standard deviation of the mean, we have 68% of our data. 68% of our data will fall there. And this is how you should break it down, and it's best to memorize this. Definitely best to memorize this. So this 34% of the data will fall here. 13.5% of the data will fall between one standard deviation and two standard deviations, so 13.5. Then you have, if you want to break it down even further, it's 2.35%. And 0.15% here. So it only goes to 99.7% because this bell curve, this part right here never touches the horizontal axis. Alright, so it goes on infinitely. Alright, now let's shade the area that corresponds to A, less than 154. So less than 154 would be everything to the left of this 154. So everything to the left of 154 would be this 13.5 plus this 2.35 plus this 0.15. Alright, if you add that up in your calculator, that gives us 16%, and if we change that to a decimal, it's the same thing as 0.16. So about 16% of people have less than 154 Facebook friends. So only about 16% of people, if these numbers are accurate. Of course, this may be outdated numbers, but you get the gist. Alright, so approximately 16% of people have less than 154 Facebook friends. Now, let's go on to B. Alright, so B is, what is the percentage of people who have more than 262 Facebook friends? Again, we're right here on this this X value here, 262, more than. So more than will be to the right of this, so that will be comprised of everything to the right of 262, which consists of 2.35% right here, 2.35%, and the 0.15%, 0.15%, which is a very small number. As a decimal, this is 0.0015. Okay, so don't ever confuse this with this is the same thing as 15%. No, it's 0.15%. When you add this together, you get 2.5%. As a decimal, that is 0.025. Alright, now let's go on to C. Alright, for C, approximately what proportion of people have between 118 and 226 Facebook friends? So we have 118 here and 226 Facebook friends. So for this particular problem, we will shade the area between these two numbers. So that consists of all the numbers here, here, and here. So those percentages are the 13.5% plus the 34 and 34, which we know that that's 68%, right? So that's 68% plus that 13.5%, which equals 81.5%. or 0.815 as a decimal. Alright, next we have approximately what proportion of people have less than 240 Facebook friends. We do know that 240 is between 226 and 262. So it's somewhere in between these two numbers. So if we know that it's between these two numbers, we can't use the empirical rule to find an approximate percentage for this, but we can kind of guess on what is the range of the percentage. So what I want you to do is pause the video and think about what range would this percentage be. Just guess at the percentage you think that would be less than 240. So what proportion of people you think would have? So make sure it's a good guess. Okay, so hopefully you have come up with a percentage that you believe, or a proportion that you believe is correct. So here's the range. So of course we know that 240 is between these two values here. So for 226, in order to be less than 226, it will be everything from this spot on this way. So that would be that 50% right here plus this 34%. So I know that 0.84, it could be between 0.84 because of this. I know that this is half, right? 50% of the bell curve, and I know that this is 34. So 50 plus 34 is 84. So it could be between 84 and also 262. If it was less than 262, I know that if I add 13.5 to that, that would be 0.975. So I know that the proportion has to be between these two numbers. So I'm going to write it like this, P for proportion. So I know that the proportion must be between 0.84 or 84% and 0.975 or 97.5%, because it's in between this value 226 and 262. So if you guess that your proportion, if your proportion was between these two numbers, then you guessed correctly. Alright. This is precisely the reason why we can't use the empirical rule to find an accurate proportion of numbers that are not on this scale. Alright? So that's why we're going to use another alternative method using what is called a standard normal z-table. Alright? So watch the next video and I'll show you how to come up with that precise proportion for people who have less than 240 Facebook friends.